Hi, this is Sarah from the Bad Dog Agility podcast and website, and I want to welcome you to our webinar. During this webinar, there will be 4 how-to videos. Since this is on demand, feel free to pause the video, download the tools we'll be talking about, and I'll be giving you the websites for those, and follow along. Let's start with the demo of the Coach's Eye. Here are links to the Coach's Eye app for the iOS devices, that would cover the iPhone and the iPad, and also a link for the Android version of the app. This app costs $4.99, and it's the only thing that you'll need to purchase during this webinar. All the rest of the tools that we're going to use will be free tools.
All right, let's take a look at the Coach's Eye application. We're going to be doing our demo on an iPad. So once you've installed the software, you'll have a Coach's Eye icon. And the first thing you'll need to do is bring a video into the Coach's Eye for analysis. And you can do this one of 2 ways. You can click on this camera icon in the upper left. That will switch the Coach's Eye to a camera mode where you can take video, and then when you're done taking the video, it'll be immediately available in the Coach's Eye. Or you can import any videos that you have stored on your iPad, like in the camera roll. And that's what this plus button is over here. So normally what I do is I will use my iPad's regular camera function to take video, and then when I'm ready to do an analysis, I'll use the plus button to access my camera roll. And you'll see the videos that you have stored on your iPad. So I'm going to choose one, and you can play it a little bit right here in this window to make sure you have the right video. If you've taken several videos over the weekend, you might not be sure you have the right one. And then you click this Use button, and that's going to bring it into the Coach's Eye. You'll see here on the main Coach's Eye screen that you have some videos in blue and some in red. The blue videos are your original videos that you have not done any analysis on, just the raw footage, and the red are your analysis videos. So this is going to take just a minute to pull this video in. Alright, so now I can select the video that I imported into the Coach's Eye, and I have the option to analyze it. Alright, so when I do an analysis of a video, I can play the video in real time and real speed. I can also, there's a switch here for slow motion, so I can also switch this to a slow continuous motion, and it just slows it down a little bit. But the real power comes in with this wheel. This allows me to quickly go forward to a particular part of the video that I care about, but it also lets me pinpoint an exact moment in time, almost frame by frame, in a very easy way. So if we back up here, there was a front cross, and if I wanted to look at the timing of that front cross, I could pick a point when the dog is 1 stride away from their launch point, or maybe just as they launch, and see what the handler's doing. So in this case, I have the dog just launching, and you can see that the handler is starting to turn the shoulder for the front cross. So it's going to be a nicely timed front cross. So that's one tip of how you can use this in agility, is to find the dog's launch point, or maybe a stride before, basically what you consider their commitment point, and see what the handler is doing at that exact moment, if they're giving them the information they need to get to the next part on course. You can actually zoom in by doing your standard kind of zoom motion with your fingers, and pan, so we can see even better the handler and the dog here. And if you want to go back to the original view, you would double click. So in terms of finding the moment in time that you want to look at, those are the functions that you're going to use, being able to play and being able to use this wheel. But the other thing that the Coach's Eye lets you do is draw on the screen, and you have a couple of different options for that. That's what these options on the left-hand side are. So this bottom one is squiggly lines. We have lines with arrows. Those are great for marking dogs' paths. We have straight lines. We have circles, which can be great for highlighting certain obstacles. And we have squares. And with any of these drawings, you can tap on the icon a second time to pull up different colors. So you could easily draw a handler path in one color and the dog's path in another color. And the really great thing about these drawings on the screen, there is a clear button here to the right if you want to get rid of all of them. So I'm going to do that now. But the really great thing about these is that they stay on the screen even while the video is playing. So, you know, if I mark the dog's, where the dog's path here, and then hit play, you can see that that mark stays there. So one way that you could use this functionality, and I'm going to go to a different video now. So this is a video of my now retired dog doing some set point exercises. And one place where the drawing would be very useful is I can go forward in time to where my dog is taking off, and I can mark that takeoff spot. Go forward in time, mark the landing. Now I've got a really good visual of how far back my dog is taking off for the jump and then how far forward they land. So in this case, that's, you know, really poor jumping there. But then I could even change my color here and go to the next repetition and see if I get a better performance. So you can see how being able to mark on the screen and have those markings persist while the video is playing can be really powerful. And one way that you can take advantage of that is, like in this case, I have a fixed viewpoint. So the camera is on a tripod and the camera is not moving, and that lets me compare this red repetition to the green repetition. You could also set up a camera and a tripod on a sequence and run your dog with a front cross one time and a rear cross the other time, and you could draw out the dog's path for one maneuver and then zoom forward to the next maneuver and see if you get a tighter turn. So that's another way that you can use the coach's eye. You also have these arrows down here. If you don't want to clear the entire screen, you can actually clear just the last mark that you made. You can kind of go backwards one by one or forwards one by one. So that can be useful too. Now you can do this analysis just on your own, in your own training. A lot of times we will immediately put a video into the coach's eye just so that we can use the wheel for finding the exact moment in time that we're looking at, and maybe do a little bit of drawing on the screen. And that's all we're looking for. But if you want to give this analysis to somebody else, if you're an instructor and you want to create a video that a student can watch, you'll want to hit this record button up here. And what that will do is it will record everything you're saying, so your voice will be recorded on this, and every drawing you make on the screen, every wheel motion you make, it will be like the person is watching you move the video around and draw on the screen and make your notations, and you're telling them your feedback. So it could be really powerful for instructors, or even if you're just creating a video for yourself that you want to put on YouTube or something like that. So you'll always need to remember to hit record if you want to save your analysis later. Otherwise, you're just looking at it on the screen. And then when you hit stop, you have the option to share your video analysis. And you can share that directly to Facebook, directly to YouTube, or you can store it back on your iPad in the camera roll. So here's Facebook. We do find that a lot of times uploads directly to Facebook fail. Uploads directly to YouTube seem to work really well. So you might consider uploading to YouTube and then just posting your YouTube link onto Facebook if that's what you're trying to do. One more trick that we have for video analysis is that we wanted to do course analysis with the coach's eye because we liked being able to draw the arrows and draw them in different colors. Well, the problem is that the coach's eye only works on videos. It does not work on pictures. And I actually emailed the people that created the coach's eye and put in a request to be able to do this on pictures, because that would be a very handy feature to be able to just take a picture of a course map and do an analysis on it. But in the meantime, what we've done is we will take a 2-second video of a course map. And that's what this one is right here. I'll hit analyze. And we'll just never hit play when we start looking at it. So what you have is you have a still image of a course map. And this is where that zooming comes in real handy. We can zoom into a part of the course that we want. And then, we could draw our dog's path. So this can be great for course analysis. It could also be used ringside instead of using, paper and pencil and drawing out your path on a map. You could actually use the coach's eye and have the ability to kind of, rethink, clear out, or maybe even draw 2 different options, one in one color and one in another color. So that's another great use we found for the coach's eye. And that's basically it for the coach's eye. It's a very simple piece of software to use, but it is so powerful for analyzing agility runs. The ability to slow things down really easily, to pinpoint moments in time that you want to look at, and then to be able to mark on the screen and record feedback. It's just a really powerful tool, both for yourself and if you have students, a great way for giving feedback. And if you're taking video with your iPad, then that's really all you need to know to use the coach's eye effectively. The rest of the webinar, what we're going to be looking at is some tips and tricks that we've learned for getting video onto your iPad. So if you have been taking video on a camcorder, then you're going to need to go through some extra steps to get that video off of your camcorder and onto your iPad. That's what we're going to look at for the rest of the webinar. I also would highly recommend, if you're going to be doing a lot of these, to get a pen like this one. It's a conducting pen, so the tip acts like a finger point, and it just moves across the screen really smoothly and well. Sometimes with your finger you can kind of get stuck on the glass a little bit. Sometimes you can even hear it on the analysis. But it's really a great pinpoint tool, and I think it was less than $1 to get these. So I would highly recommend those. If you do anything often on the iPad, this could be useful for you.
So here's a link to that touch pen I was telling you about. Turns out it's 78 cents plus $1 shipping for a pack of 3. It takes a while to get here because it ships from Hong Kong, but I think it's a great addition for anybody that uses an iPad extensively. All right, the next piece of software we're going to look at is Dropbox. And here's a link for you to use to get Dropbox. Dropbox is a combination of free online storage and an extremely simple way to use that storage. So let's go take a look. All right, so let's take a look at Dropbox. I'm going to go ahead and go to the URL that I've given you in the notes. And you're going to want to sign up for your own account. So first name, last name, your email address. So now you're going to create your account. I'm not going to remember my password here. It's immediately going to go ahead and ask you if you want to download the Dropbox application, and you do. So we're going to click Save File. And in Firefox, you get this nice pop-up when you download, but you'll need to figure out where your browser is set to download the file so that you can go and install it. I also would recommend going ahead and taking their tour at some point to get a feel for exactly how the application works. I'm going to show you just a couple of the features that we use to help transfer files to the iPad. All right, now that it's done downloading, let's go ahead and double-click on the application to install it. So I'm going to go ahead and run. I'm going to go ahead and click Install. Okay, so now that we've installed the software, it's asking us if we have a Dropbox account. And since that's the first thing we did, we created that account, we're going to go ahead and say, I already have a Dropbox account. And click Next. So now you're going to put in the email and password that you used when you created your account. And you can give your computer a name. You can use Dropbox to transfer files between computers. So if you have a desktop and a laptop, that's one of the things Dropbox is great for. And so you're telling it what computer you're currently installing it on. Then we click Next. So everybody gets 2 gigabytes free. And at least for now, I would just stick with that free account. If you really like Dropbox and you decide to use it for a lot of things, you could upgrade to a paid account. But for right now, we're going to stay on the free account. And click Next. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the typical settings and click Install. In this case, I already have Dropbox installed on this computer, so it's asking me if I want to install into the same location. I'm going to go ahead and do that, but if you do not have Dropbox, you will not get this message. One of the things that we are going to do later is install Dropbox onto our iPad. So this is giving you a chance to do that up front for an iPhone or an Android, but I prefer to just, from my phone, go to the App Store and download the Dropbox app. So I'm going to leave that blank and hit Next. I would recommend taking the tour if you're not familiar with Dropbox, but for now I'm going to go ahead and skip the tour. And I'm going to click Finish, and it's going to open up my Dropbox folder. So what does Dropbox really do for us? Well, it creates a folder on your computer that works like any other folder. You can copy files into it, you can drag and drop. Anything that you would normally do in terms of organizing your files on your computer, you can do here with your Dropbox folder. The difference is anything you put in this Dropbox folder is going to get uploaded to your online storage space. So it's really easy to use. And it also puts this icon down here that tells you if it's in the process of syncing. It also gives you a quick right-click and open Dropbox folder so that you can easily get to this folder to put other files into it. And then the last thing that you might use this for is for sharing things with other people. So you could have a file or a folder in here that you want to share with, like you're an instructor, and you can just right-click on it, go to Dropbox, and say Share Link. This is going to pull up the Dropbox website. You can now click the Share button. In this case, I need to authorize it to do this because it's a brand new account. So I will go do that, and then I will come back to show this share function. Okay, so I went and checked my email. I found the verification email and clicked the link. So now when I click share, I can put in the email address of somebody I want to share with, and an optional message. And I can send an invitation to view this particular folder on Dropbox. And so then that person will get that invitation and they can then download whatever it is that you're sharing with them. So it makes for a handy way to share links to videos with other people. And that's the basic functionality of Dropbox. What we're going to use this for is to use Dropbox to transfer files from our computer to our iPad. And that's what I'm going to show you next. So if we look at my Dropbox folder, we'll see that there's this MP4 file here of a jumper's run that I'd like to analyze in the coach's eye. But right now it's on my computer. So I have put this video into my Dropbox folder, and now I'm going to show you how you can go to your iPad and use Dropbox to retrieve it.
Alright, so now we're back to our iPad, and now I'm going to show you how you can use Dropbox to easily transfer files from your computer to your iPad. So when we first installed Dropbox, I showed you that I put a video in my Dropbox called Rook Jumpers with Weaves, and it was an MP4 file. So once you install the Dropbox app for iPad, you've got this link here. We're going to click on that. You actually see the same set of files that you had in your Dropbox folder on your computer. And here's the Rook Jumpers with Weaves MP4 file that we put on there. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. Now this is the little trick that you have to know for Dropbox, and that is that if you want to be able to download a video, you have to click this star first. That's going to actually pull the whole video down onto your iPad. And it's going to take a minute. You may not be able to see it, but at the top there's a little spinny there saying that it's going to the internet to get that file. And you'll see that this icon to the right of the star suddenly became clickable. So a minute ago it was grayed out, but now that we've started this and we've given it a chance to download, that's now available. So if I click that, I have the option to save this photo to my photo library, which I could do. That would put it in my camera roll, and then from there I could put it in the coach's eye. Or there's also an even shorter way, which is to click open in, and I can open it in the coach's eye. So I'm going to click that. Now I get this message saying that it was successfully imported. I'm going to click OK. And now I have that video that was originally on my computer is now on my iPad, and I didn't have to plug my iPad into the computer or anything. So I find this to be the quickest and easiest way to transfer video files from my computer to my iPad.
Once I figured out how to transfer videos from my computer to my iPad, a problem that I ran into was that I wanted to do analyses on videos I had recorded on my camcorder. And the first time I transferred a video from my camcorder to the iPad, I discovered that the format was not one that the iPad, and therefore the coach's eye, could display. Most camcorders record files with an MTS format, and the iPad version of the coach's eye only supports MP4, MOV, and M4V formats. After some searching, I was able to find a free conversion program that can easily convert MTS files to an iPad-acceptable format. This program also works on WMV files, which are the files that you get if you use Windows Movie Maker to slice up your video. So now let's take a look at this program. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the video conversion program that will let us convert our MTS files which is a common format for camcorder files, to a format that we can put onto our iPad and review in the Coach's Eye. So I'm going to go to this same link that I've put up for you guys, baddogagility.com/video-converter. And this is the software that I found. It's called Any Video Converter. Now, I've taken you directly to the page for the free version. You can see up here in the URL. But there are plenty of ads for their paid version, the ultimate version. You don't need this version. We just want the free download. So we're going to click this button that says free download. And the download should start automatically. If it doesn't, you can click this button here. So I'm going to click Save File. And again, because I'm using Firefox, I get this pop-up, but you'll need to find where your browser is saving the file. All right, now that it's downloaded, I'm going to go ahead and double-click to install. And I'm going to click Run. I'm going to select the language, so I'm going to leave English as the default and click OK. Okay, for the most part, we're just going to take the defaults here. So on this first screen, I'm going to click Next. I'm going to accept the agreement and click Next. I'm just going to leave it at the default location and click Next. I've already installed this software before, so that's why I'm getting this message. I'm going to click Yes and click Next. I'm fine with the desktop icon, so I'll say Next. Okay, here's the one place where I'm not going to take the defaults. And again, they're a little tricky because they make it look like you can't even select this custom installation, but you can. So I'm going to click this radio box, and I'm going to unclick these checkboxes. These are additional toolbars and changing your default search. It really has nothing to do with the program, and I don't want them messing with my toolbar or my search. So I'm going to uncheck all of those things, and then I'm going to click Next. And now I'm going to click Install. All right, now this immediately popped up another ad trying to get me to buy the software. But I'm going to go back down here to open the program. It got hidden behind this pop-up window. And I'm going to go ahead and say Finish, and I'm going to let it bring up the application. Okay, so this is the converter program. And the first thing that we're going to do is we want to choose our preset outputs. So here you can set a variety of devices that you want to target. So you want to convert to something that could be playable on an iPad or an iPod or an Android. If you happen to be using the Android version of the Coach's Eye, this might work for you. We're going to choose the Apple iPad as our default output device. Now, the Save To location is going to default to a specific location for any video converter. But what I like to do is change that Save To be a folder in my Dropbox. So that saves me the time later of having to move my converted videos into my Dropbox folder so that I can then pull them over onto my iPad. Instead, I just set up the program to automatically put any of my converted files into my Dropbox, and I put them into this converted video folder. So you can change the Save To location by just clicking these three dots over here and finding your particular Dropbox folder on your machine. Mine happens to be in a funny location. I think C, Users, Fernandez Lopez, Dropbox. And then I'm going to choose Converted Video. So you can change this to be whatever you want, but I recommend, if the main reason you're using this is to move things over to the Coach's Eye, I would recommend just setting this up to go straight to Dropbox. And I'm going to go ahead and click confirm. So all I've done is tell it that when I do conversions, I want them to convert to the Apple iPad format. And in this case, it's going to be a .mp4, and that I want it to save into my Dropbox folder. So now when I actually want to do a conversion, I need to add files to be converted. So you can actually drag and drop onto this interface, or you can click this button. So I'm going to click that button, and I have my videos stored under Libraries, Videos, and then in Date folders. So here's one that I could look at. All right, here's a video of a dog run here. And you notice that it's this MTS format. So I'm going to click Open. And now it's queued up, ready to be converted. And I'm going to click this Convert All Files Now. And it's going to work on that for a minute. All right, now you can see that it is once again showing an advertisement for their paid product. I'm going to go ahead and click this X to ignore that. But it is done. It says completed here. So now I can go to my Dropbox folder. Again, I'm going to right click on my Dropbox icon and say Open Dropbox Folder. And I have this special converted video folder. And it's going to put it in a special folder according to the output device that I specified. And here we go. I've got, this is from a previous run, and then I have this new file that was just created by the conversion program. And this little checkbox means that it's already been uploaded to Dropbox. Sometimes you'll see this as a like a blue circle with a squiggly line in it. That means that it's in the middle of uploading it. So you're not going to be able to download it to your iPad until it has this green checkbox, because that means it's available online, and then your iPad can go ahead and pull it down. So that's it for the conversion program, and that's kind of the final piece for being able to take your video from your computer in whatever format you happen to have it in and bring it over to your iPad and analyze it in the Coach's Eye. One other thing that we do with the Coach's Eye is that we will sometimes take training video and put it into Windows Movie Maker, where we will cut out all of the dead time. So, you know, if you're working on 2x2s, you might really quickly scan through the video and get rid of all of the time in between repetitions where you're tugging with the dog and getting set up for the next rep, so that you end up with a video that just has repetition, 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 repetition. And then we could save that, and that would be a WMV file. And so then we could convert that using this conversion program, and then open it in the Coach's Eye and do some analysis. So that's the other reason that we found the need for the conversion program, was to convert the WMV files. After releasing the original Coach's Eye webinar, we had some questions from folks, and we also had a few more tips that we wanted to share with you. On top of that, the Coach's Eye came out with the 3.0 version of their software, which includes side-by-side analysis. So we're going to add this addendum to the webinar. The first part is exactly the same as the original webinar, and here's just a few more things we wanted to mention. We'll start off with an announcement, then we'll do a demo of how to do side-by-side video analysis, a tip for how to get rid of the sound from the original video, a how-to on naming your analysis, and a how-to on using Dropbox to transfer your analysis back to your computer. We already covered using Dropbox to get raw video footage onto your iPad, but you can also use it to get your finished analysis back to your computer. And then we'll cover a couple of additional resources that came up in the comments, a Mac version of the converter, and the tripod attachment that we use with our iPad. So first, the announcement. We are very excited to announce Bad Dog Agility Academy. Now, Bad Dog Agility is not going anywhere. We'll continue to put out articles, videos, podcasts. All of that will be continuing. It will always be free. But Bad Dog Agility Academy is a place where we can offer some more structured training, some actual online classes, and some personal feedback. So come take a peek at what we're doing at Bad Dog Agility Academy, and if you're on our mailing list or you've liked us on Facebook, you'll hear every time we add new course offerings to Bad Dog Agility Academy. So let's move on to the demo of some of these additional tips and tricks for the coach's eye.
All right, so let's go back into the coach's eye to see the new side-by-side feature, as well as a few more tips that we thought of after the original webinar. The first thing you'll notice is that it looks a little bit different than the first part of the webinar, and that's because just in the last week, the coach's eye released the 3.0 version of the software. The main feature that came out of that was side-by-side analysis, which we're about to show you, but it also changed a little bit of the layout. Now, you should still be able to find your way around pretty well. The import button that used to be over here, the plus sign, is now over here, and the record button that used to be on this left-hand side is now at the bottom. They've also added a few tabs down here. The main one you'll want is videos, and that's kind of your main screen that shows you your imported videos and your analysis videos. The analysis videos are now in orange. They used to be red. And you can go to this Explore tab. Really, all that's going to do is show you what's popular on the Coach's Eye website. There's resources for some tutorials and things like that. And then the shared button is also nice because it shows you what you have shared with people and what they've shared with you. So those could be useful, but we're going to go back to videos. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at side by side. So the first thing you do, you have to have both videos that you want to compare in the Coach's Eye. And then you're going to pick one of them. So I have a video here of the 8-inch champion at AKC Nationals, Masher. So I'm going to click on that and say I want to analyze it. It doesn't matter which one you choose first. But to do the side-by-side analysis, you're going to click this button in the upper right when you have started an analysis. It looks like a little two film images side by side. And that's going to put you into this split screen mode where we can add a second video. And I'm going to add a video that I have of the 26-inch champion at AKC Nationals. Now, you start out a little bit zoomed in, but you can change that. So we can zoom out if we want to see the full run side by side. But you can also, zoom each one however you like. And what you'll see is you have two different wheels down here. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side, and I'm going to use this wheel to find the point where Masher is just getting over the bar. Then I'm going to come over to the 26-inch side to Pace's run and find the same point where Pace is just jumping over the bar. And that's how I'm going to sync up these videos. Okay, so once you have your videos synced up in time, there's this button in between the two wheels. It looks like a chain link. And when you click that, you now have one wheel that controls both the screens at the same rate. So whether you're doing slow motion or, playing it in real speed or playing it in slow motion, these are now synced. And you can still do all of your analysis on it. So we can still, draw paths for the dogs or, circle particular obstacles coming up. So we can still do all those cool Coach's Eye features, but on two different videos at the same time. And we can still zoom those in and out. So that's how you do side by side. And the syncing up in time is so much easier here in the Coach's Eye than with any software program that I've used. So I'm really excited by the fact that we can now do that right in Coach's Eye. One other tip that I wanted to tell you is that sometimes your videos will have they'll have something going on in the background. Like if we play this one, you'll hear the announcer, you'll hear the seesaw bang. So see, there's sound there. And if I were recording an analysis, I wouldn't want all of that background noise in my recording. And so the way that you get rid of that noise is actually to just turn the volume off on your iPad. When you do an analysis, it's recording everything that the microphone is picking up. It doesn't have the audio from the video built into it. The only way you're going to get that audio is if it's playing through your iPad speakers and then the microphone is picking it up. So if you just turn the speakers off, then you have nothing playing through your microphone and there will be no extra noise on your analysis. So that's how you get rid of those noises. One more thing that I wanted to show you is if I did do an analysis, we'll just let this run for a couple of seconds and draw a couple of circles. We talked in the original webinar about how we use Dropbox to get raw video onto our iPad so that we can use Coach's Eye on it. But you can actually use Dropbox to store your completed analysis back to your computer as well. So let's look at that real quick. If I look at this analysis that I did, I'm going to click Share. And this is going to look a little bit different than the previous version of Coach's Eye. I actually like it a little bit better. They've broken things out into sharing by email and Facebook and Twitter. Anytime you share by those options, you are uploading your analysis to the Coach's Eye website and to these programs, to an instant message or to an email. And that's why you need to specify whether you want it public or unlisted, and that's why when you first start Coach's Eye, you're going to have to create a Coach's Eye account. But if you go to YouTube or save it back to your camera, it doesn't go to the Coach's Eye website at all, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, to do Dropbox, that's where you're going to click this Other Apps. And, well, I have a couple of different options, but you have Open in Dropbox as an option. So that's going to save my analysis to Dropbox once I hit Save. And now once I give that time to upload into my online storage and then download to my computer, it will appear in my Dropbox folder on my computer. So that's a great, easy way to get your analysis from your iPad back to your computer if you want to do some additional processing or add music or something like that. Now there's one more thing that I wanted to show you, and that is that they've made it much easier and much more obvious how to name your analyses or your raw video files so that they don't just have these dates and times. So if you click on one, there's actually a rename option here. I think that's a video of Skechers Nationals run. And that's all you have to do. So now it's going to be much easier for you to name and find the analyses that you've done.
There's just a few other resources that I wanted to mention. First, there is a Mac version of the video converter program that we used, and there's a link to that here on the screen. Second, there were some people that asked what kind of mount we used for shooting video with your iPad. If you don't want to use your camcorder and then transfer it to the iPad, you can take video directly on the iPad, and this is the mount that we use. It's called the iShot mount. I like it because I don't have to take the case off of my iPad. We have a pretty big, bulky case because of the kids and stuff. So that's the one that we use. And then with that, I also have this tripod quick release that lets me screw this little adapter into the tripod attachment, and then I can put that into the tripod. It fits most tripods. You'll have to check and see if it'll fit yours, but I have one of these quick release adapters on my camcorder and one on my iPad, so I don't have to actually unscrew the iPad or unscrew the camera each time I want to put it on. I just use the quick release. So those are the things that we use to make taking video right on the iPad a little bit easier. And that's it for our Coach's Eye webinar. We hope that this has been very valuable to you. We think it's a great tool, and there were just a couple of tricks that we found made it even more useful for us, and we wanted to share those with you. If you have any questions, please connect with us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/baddogagility, and we would love to hear from you. Happy training!